Hey, this is Mrs. Kalanicki. Hope you guys are enjoying a great Tuesday. I'm sitting learning some more strategies to help you learn math better. For period 2, you should be working on the I've ready. So follow these directions, post these up. If this is not period 2, this is period 3, or this is period 7, you're going to move on to the next slide. So that is this slide. Hopefully you handed in your reflection sheet. Please, substitute, please make note of who did not have it on the subplans, and I will mark that accordingly. If you didn't finish the homework, you should be able to do it tonight, so hand back the reflection sheets, allow all the students to work on something else. So this is the lesson slide, and we're going to begin. Hopefully you set the timer and did this already. Okay, moving forward. So, this is translating algebraic expressions. We're learning about translating words into math language. Again, using our clue words that we've talked about already for adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. But this time we're going to incorporate letters if we are given them. So, our first question I want you to think about is, the expression 20A plus 13C is the cost for A adults, meaning that's a certain number of adults, and C students to enter the Miami Science Museum. My question to you is, what does the 20 and the 13 stand for? And the second question is, find the total cost for 4 adults and 12 students. So take a few moments, you can work on it independently and then maybe pair share with a partner, and then we'll talk about your answers in a moment. So pause the video, give some time to think, about 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes, and then play the video. Okay, so if you're back here, that means we're ready to review this question. What does the 20 and the 13 stand for? Well, I know that the A stands for the number of adults, and I know that the C stands for the number of children or students. So the 20 and the 13 have to be related to the cost. So 20 is actually going to be $20 is the cost for adults, and the other part is the $13 must be the cost for students or children. And now to find that cost, I'm going to have to plug in or evaluate this expression based on what I know. So now I know that there are 4 adults, and I know that there are 12 students. So all I just did was I substituted in the 4 for the A. So I put the number 4 in for the A. And I put in the 12 for the number of students. So this is what I rewrote just with parentheses to show where I'm putting in the numbers. And now I put this whole thing in my calculator. You do it with me, I hope. I'm literally putting it in right now. Let's see. My answer does not seem right, so I must have typed something in wrong. Okay, all together in my calculator, I got the answer 236, and it's dollars because it's saying find the total cost. Okay, take a moment, copy that down, pause the video if you need to. If not, we're moving forward. Okay, so now an algebraic expression is a number sentence or an expression that uses variables or letters instead of numbers. So I will be using some numbers in my expression, but if I see the word a number, like I see it right here, let me get my highlighter, like I see it right here, more than a number, then that number I'm going to use, if I don't know it, I'm going to substitute it with a variable. Sometimes I will give you the variable to use. I will tell you to use the letter N, or use the letter M, or use the letter C or A. And sometimes I won't. And usually if I don't give a letter, I usually use the letter X. So since I'm giving you letters here, we're going to use the letters that I give you. So I'm going to read it. Each one is going to be a clue word. So remember, we're going to have to watch for clue words as well during this. Get my little eraser. All right, here we go. So looking for clue words to figure out what I'm going to be doing. For more than a number. For more than a number. Well, I know I'm going to be using the number 4, so that's not too bad. And I know I'm going to be using a letter N for a number. But the clue words here are more than. And more than means, okay, I'm just making sure I didn't hear you. For more than a number, and we're going to use the letter N here. So more than meant add. Second one, I have some clue words down here just in case. Just in case. We did add some more to these, so be careful. And I will talk more about some of these words in a second. Letter M, we're going to use that for this expression. The difference of a number and 3. All right, so my clue word here is difference. And difference means subtraction. And remember, the order of subtraction matters. It is not commutative, meaning I can't change the order. So the difference of a number, so I have to put the number first, and 3, I'm going to subtract m minus 3. So far, so good. Okay. Next one, a number divided by 3. This one's pretty easy because it sees the words divided by. So I'm going to use my Q for a number. So Q divided by, big dots, 3. Another way to use division is to write it, I'm going to leave it over here just because I don't have enough space to write in the box. Q divided by 3 with a fraction bar. I'm going to shrink it so I can squeeze it in my box. There we go. All right, so it's either Q divided by 3 with a division sign or Q divided by 3 with a fraction bar. Up to you. And the last one, since we haven't used it yet, I bet you know what it's going to be. The word is product. The product of a number and 1/2. So product means multiply. I can show multiplying in lots of different ways. We've already spoken about them. I'm going to write them down 3 different ways, I think. I think I have 3 different ways. Let's see. I can use 1/2, and I can put the P right next to it. In math, when I have a coefficient and a variable, and I put them right next to each other, that means multiplication, no matter what. I could also use the methods that I've used for other numbers, so like putting P in parentheses would work. Notice I'm always putting the 1/2 in front of the P. It's very unusual to see a P or a variable in front of a number, so it's always written in this format. I could also write 1/2 with a dot and a P, and I can also write 1/2 with a times sign and a P. But most likely, you're going to see this first method. So get comfortable seeing a variable right next to a number, and that meaning multiplication. But feel free to write all 4 of these in this space right here. I'll have to give you a minute to write it down. If you need to pause the video, pause the video. Okay. So now, some keywords and phrases. We've already spoken about a few of these. We talked about how when we're comparing, right? It's not how much, but I can add to this how much more, right? Or how many more, or how many less, right? That one can, just made it the right size. Here we go. So these guys, these guys can fit into the subtraction box if you want to add them, if you have some space. There are, let's see, there's one that I really want to highlight just because it's a little different than all of the other subtraction ones. It's this one right here, subtracted from. When I use subtracted from, I actually have to change the order in which I am subtracting. So if I say, for example, 3 subtracted from 5, what I'm really saying is I'm saying 5 minus 3. If you think of this kind of like borrowing, like I want to borrow some money from Miss Forza. If I want to borrow it from her, I want to borrow $3 from Miss Forza who has $5. Well, I need to borrow it from her. Her money needs to go first. So when I think of from, I always think from goes first. So if I'm subtracting from 5, then the 5 has to go first. From goes first. From goes first. When in terms of adding, I don't really have to change it. If I add it to something, I don't subtract it from something. So those are really the most important. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. Difference of, fewer than, take away. Nope. Everything else should be okay. This of, that's another one I want to talk about. Of, multiplied. If I say half of something, right? Or 1/5 of something, you might want to put a symbol in here, because it's not just going to say of, because we use of in a lot of different word problems, but it's going to have a number of something. A number, you know, half of, you know, students, 3/4 of the lunches, you know, something like that. So there has to be a number here, and it's usually going to be like a fraction or a decimal. Okay. Add those to your notes. Hopefully you added this. You added the how much more, how many more. Again, how much is not a clue word. It's on the wall. Look at it. Look at the poster. How much is not a clue word. But how much more is a clue word, because that's when I am doing some comparing. I am comparing. How much more did this person have than me? All right, pause the video if you need to. Otherwise, I'm moving on. Okay, so word problems. Here's what I want you to do. With a partner, I want you to read the word problems aloud. If you need the sub or Miss Forza to help you read them, bring them over and have them read them with you. Your job is to find the clue words and decide what operation this problem is. I don't want you setting it up. Here's what I want you doing. Read the word problem. Jessica bought 5 shirts that each cost N dollars. Write an expression that represents the total cost of the 5 shirts she bought. Okay. Now I have to decide what clue words I see. I'm going to do some highlighting or underlining of the clue words. I see the word each, and I also see Jessica bought 5 shirts that each cost N dollars. Write an expression that represents the total cost. So it seems like these two clue words are a little conflicting, because each means times, and they want me to find the total cost of the 5 shirts. So my understanding is if 5 shirts, they each cost N dollars, I'm going to be using multiplication to solve this problem. And that's all I want you to do right now, is tell me what symbol of the operation you're going to need to do for this. So read the clue words, read the problems, highlight the clue words, and write down the symbol. Read the problem, highlight the clue words, write down the symbol. Pause the video, go through these with your partner, and when everyone looks like they're mostly done, we're going to come back and I'm going to go over each one and we're going to write the expressions together. So pause the video for right now. Okay, if you're back, then we're ready to go over these. So this first one is multiplication. 5 shirts, each cost N dollars, so I am writing 5N. Now, if you were stuck on the total and you're saying, well, can I do adding for total? You can. I'm just trying to make some lines to separate this. I could do some adding. If one shirt cost N dollars, and another shirt's going to cost N dollars, and another shirt's going to cost N dollars, I have to do this 5 times. And now you're seeing why 5N is probably the better expression to write. And when I do this, I could add N plus N plus N plus N plus N. There's 1 in front of each one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 N's. So this is a longer way to write it. That would involve the word total. But the faster way is to do each. So each one costs N dollars. Okay, number 2. Isabella has $60 to spend and she buys a t-shirt for $15 and a sweater for $P. Write an expression that represents how much money she would have left. There's the clue word, left. Left is a clue word for subtraction. So she has so much money to spend, just like Miss Forza has money to lend me. So that money is going to go first. And then I'm going to subtract what she bought. She bought a t-shirt and she also bought a sweater. I don't know how much the sweater costs, but it costs $P. I'm going to erase that. Let's try that again. Cost $P. So there we go. And there's my expression. Okay, next one. Mario has 25 pieces of candy that he wants to split among K classmates. Write an expression that represents how much each of his classmates would get. Okay, so I got 2 clue words in here. Let's see if you've caught them both. Split and each. Okay, now, split means divide, and each could mean multiply or divide, but it says how much each classmate would get. That's almost like the question over here. So if each is in the question, it's also going to be division. So I'm going to take the 25 pieces of candy and I'm going to split it among my K classmates. Again, writing it that way or writing it as a fraction. I think you're going to be seeing this way a lot more often, so get comfortable seeing this as a division problem and not so much this. And the last one, I don't know if you noticed that the names are students that I had last year in math. I don't know if you noticed that. So, Melanie purchased a candy bar for $1.10 and a pack of gum for G dollars. Write an expression that represents the total amount she spent. Alright, here's my highlighter. Total, clue word. That's the only clue word I see, and it makes sense because she's buying 2 different things. She's buying 2 different things. She wants to know how much she spent. I'm going to add those things. So I'm going to add $1.10 plus G dollars. I don't know how much the gum costs, but it costs G dollars. I'll clean this up a little bit. Sorry, guys. Very hard to write with a mouse. Excellent. Okay. So $1.10 plus G dollars, and that will represent the total amount that she spent. I have any more on this page? Nope. Okay. Next page, Michelle. She bought 2 Rubik's Cubes that cost N dollars each and 3 puzzles that cost Z dollars each. Write an expression that represents Michelle's total bill. Again, I see 3 clue words. I see each twice, and I see total. And actually, because there are a lot of things going on here, I actually have to use both of those operations. Each, when it's in the problem, means multiply, and total means add. So it says 2 Rubik's Cubes that cost N dollars each. Because these are right next to each other, this is the phrase 2 Rubik's Cubes, N dollars each. Those are the 2 numbers that I'm going to be multiplying. And 3 puzzles for Z dollars each. That's another phrase. 3 puzzles, Z dollars each. And then I want to add those 2 to find how much she paid all together. There we go. That was a tricky one. Hope you got it. Okay. Next one. Anthony ordered 2 pairs of sneakers on Amazon that cost F dollars each. Amazon charged him $3.50 for shipping. Write an expression that represents Anthony's total bill. Again, 2 steps. I see 2 clue words. I see each, and I see total. So again, I'm looking for what that each is talking about. That each is talking about the 2 pairs of sneakers. So my 2 pairs of sneakers, I'm writing my 2 operations. My 2 pairs of sneakers cost F dollars each. And Amazon charged him $3.50 for shipping. So if I add the 2 pairs of sneakers that he bought, that's how much it would cost. And the $3.50 for the shipping, this is how much his bill would be. Okay. Give you an extra few minutes if you want to do the last two. Pause the video and you want to try these. These are very similar to the last two that we did. So they involve two different steps. Maybe multiplying and adding, maybe multiplying and subtracting. Take a look and see if you can do the last two. Okay, so if you're back, that means you're ready to go over these. I'm going to read them and we're going to look for clue words together. Sam's cell phone plan charges 5 cents per text over her limit. Her bill is usually $50. If she texted X times over her limit, which expression would represent the amount of her bill with X texts over her limit? Ooh. So there's a little clue word here. Ooh, forgot my highlighter. There's a little clue over here, per. Per is kind of like each. I'm going to actually look and see if it's on our clue word list right here before I do some highlighting. Let's see. Is per on there? It is not. So it's kind of like each. I'm going to actually add both of those words to it. I'm going to add each, and I'm going to put a star next to it because we know it has to be in the problem for each. And then each over here can go, but also put a star in it because it has to be in the question for it to be division most of the time. And then the same thing for per. If I'm saying the word per, like something costs $2 per person, then that would be multiplying. And if I said, well, how much is it per person, as a question, that would also be dividing. So again, if per or each is in the question, it's going to be dividing. If per or each is in the problem, it's most likely going to be multiplying. So take a moment, add those two words to this chart right here. I know they're on our table in our notebook, but we're going to add them here. Okay, when you're ready, let's move on. All right, back down to this. So Sam's phone plan charges her 5 cents per text, and her bill is usually $50. She texted X times over her limit, so that is the information that I was looking for, because it says per text. And how many texts did I do? Well, I don't know. She texted X times. She texted X times. So that's where these two are going to come together. 5 cents per text, which means I'm going to put the X right next to the 5 cents because it's 5 cents per text. So every time there's a text, I'm going to add 5 cents. Her bill is usually $50. They're charging her more money per text. So how much would her bill represent? And I'm going to highlight this for over her limit. They charge her. Charge her means they charge her money. So if her bill is $50, usually $50, am I going to be adding or subtracting the extra charges on her bill? I'm going to be adding them because she's getting charged more money because she went over her text limit. I'm going to add these zeros. There we go. So $50 plus the extra fee depending on how many texts she uses. So this is multiplying, and it was kind of hidden because it's also adding. But that one was a little tricky. It wasn't as obvious. And the last one, Kaylee's soccer team is ordering jackets. The jackets cost $25 each for each teammate, and an extra $5 for their name on the jacket. If there are T teammates on the soccer team, how much would it cost for each player to get a jacket and their name? Okay. So the jackets cost $25 each. That sounds like it's going to be multiplication. $25 each for each what? For each teammate. And what letter am I using for teammates? T. $25 for each teammate. That's a 5, sorry. That looks a little better. $25 for each teammate, and they get an extra $5 for their name on the jacket. So if your teammate wants their name on the jacket, that's an extra $5 per jacket. What do you think? You think it's per jacket? An extra $5 for their name on the jacket. The jacket costs $25 for each teammate and an extra $5, I'm going to say per teammate also, to get their name on the jacket. If I want both of these things to happen, I need to add them together. So I'm going to get charged $25 plus the extra $5 per teammate for the jacket. That's all we got for today. So hopefully you had a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.